I was watching the evening news in my own living room when my daughter-in-law snatched the remote from my hand. "Go to your room, old man," she snapped. "This is my space now." My son stood in the doorway, eyes on his phone, silent as a stone. I waited just one word, one defense. Nothing came. I looked at him one last time, picked up my keys, and walked out. The next morning, a man in a suit rang the doorbell. She had no idea what was about to happen. "I'm grateful you're here. Before we continue, drop a comment. Where are you watching from, and what time is it there?" I read every single one. It was a Friday evening like any other. Or so I thought. I was watching the evening news in my living room when my daughter-in-law snatched the remote from my hand. The screen went black. It was 6:30. Outside, the Phoenix summer heat was finally breaking, and the air conditioning hummed softly. I sat in my brown leather armchair, the one Rosalind and I bought 40 years ago. The coffee on the side table was still warm. For 40 years, this had been my time. 6:30 PBS NewsHour. Rosalind used to curl up on the couch with her tea, and we'd watch together. Even after she passed 4 years ago, I kept the ritual. Some nights, I swear I could still smell her lavender soap. But that Friday, everything changed. Autumn stormed in with a ring light in one hand and her phone in the other. "The lighting is completely wrong with that TV on," she snapped. She didn't ask or wait. She just reached over and took the remote from me. The silence felt sharp. "Go to your room, old man," she said already, setting up her ring light on the coffee table. "This is my space now. I have 10,000 followers waiting for my workout stream. My space in my house. The house I'd paid for, raised my son in, and watched my wife take her last breath." I turned toward the kitchen. Owen stood there in dusty work clothes fresh off a long haul. He'd heard everything. Our eyes met. I waited. One word, just one. Something like, "That's not okay." Owen looked at his phone. "Not now, Dad," he muttered and walked toward the garage. "Not now." Something hardened inside me. I'd been making excuses for months. Owen was tired. Autumn was stressed. They needed time. I told myself to be patient to keep the peace, but peace isn't peace when it costs your dignity. I stood up. My knees cracked loudly in the quiet room. 66 years announced themselves all at once. Autumn was adjusting her ring light, angling it toward my chair. She didn't look at me. I was already invisible. I walked to my bedroom and opened the bottom drawer of my dresser. Beneath my keys was a blue folder I'd kept since closing day. I opened it. Property deed. Von Gregory James, sole owner. The paper felt solid in my hands. In the Navy, I learned that paper carries weight. Words vanish. Paper does not. I tucked the folder under my arm, grabbed my keys, and walked back through the living room. Autumn's phone was already recording. "Hey, lovelies, sorry for the delay. Just a little interruption," she chirped. I walked to the front door and paused. I looked at the couch where Rosalind used to sit, the photos of Owen as a boy and the ring light burning where my coffee had been. Then I stepped outside and closed the door. Not a slam, just a quiet click. I drove away slowly. In the mirror, I saw Autumn smiling at her camera, standing exactly where I'd been. For 4 years, I'd made myself smaller. Helpful turned into useful. Useful turned into invisible. But that night, I finally knew where I needed to go. 2 hours later, I pulled into a parking lot I hadn't visited in 2 years. The Veterans Lodge smelled like coffee and old leather, the kind of place that felt like coming home after a long deployment. It sat on the east side of Phoenix, a low brick building with a faded American flag out front, lit by a single spotlight. I'd been here twice before, once for a retirement party, once for my friend Miller's funeral. He'd passed the same month Rosalind did. I remembered standing in this lot back then, wondering if I'd ever return. Tonight, I had nowhere else to go. The front door was unlocked. Inside, the lobby was small but tidy. A worn leather couch faced a television playing the late news on mute. A coffee maker gurgled on a side table, the pot half full. Behind the desk sat Holden Mercer. "Greg Vaughn," he said, standing up in surprise. He was 62, retired Navy like me, with gray hair and a handshake that still meant something. "Haven't seen you since Miller's service. What brings you here?" I set my keys on the counter. "I need a room, Holden. Just a few days." He studied my face and didn't ask questions. Veterans know when to speak and when to open door. "Room 3 is open. You need anything else?" "Yeah," I said, placing the blue folder down. "I need advice. Family trouble." He poured 2 coffees and sat with me. I told him the basics. My son and daughter-in-law living with me for 4 years. The disrespect building tonight's confrontation, and my son standing silent while his wife told me to go to my room. When I finished, Holden leaned back. "You need JAG, Judge Advocate General. Family law, property issues, free legal help. You earned it." "You think it's that serious? She told you to leave your own living room. Your son didn't stop it." "Yeah. Call them now." I stepped into the office and dialed. The Navy teaches calm under pressure. The line rang twice. "JAG Legal Assistance Commander Sheffield." I explained everything. Where I lived, how long they'd been there, no lease, the disrespect. Feeling like a guest in my own home. "Mr. Vaughn," she said, "check your property records online. Sometimes family members add themselves to titles without permission." My stomach dropped. Holden already had his laptop open. We pulled up the county recorder site and entered my address. Owners Vaughn Gregory James and Reeves Autumn Marie. The room tilted. I never signed anything. "Check the date," Holden said. 6 months ago. I searched my email. There it was. Oh, and asking me to sign a utility update form. I'd signed it without looking. "She used that," I said. Commander Sheffield's voice turned cold. "This is fraud. Forgery of a deed is a felony. I'll prepare eviction papers by morning. But first, I need to dig deeper. Sometimes there are layers." "Layers? What kind?" I asked. "The kind that mean she's done this before. Get some rest." The call ended. I stared at the screen, my name beside one that didn't belong. For 6 months, she'd owned part of my home and I hadn't known. Holden handed me the key to room 3. The room was small but quiet. No cameras, no ring lights. As I lay there staring at the ceiling, one thought echoed. What else didn't I know? I barely slept that night. Commander Sheffield had said layers, and by Saturday morning, I couldn't shake the feeling she'd found something serious. At dawn, I sat in the lodge's small library, scrolling through Autumn's social media on Holden's laptop. That's when I saw it. A photo dated 2016 tagged in Sacramento. A man's arm was wrapped around her waist. The caption read, "Forever starts today." But Autumn didn't marry my son until 2018. I took a screenshot and sent it to the number Commander Sheffield had given me. "Found something? Can we talk?" My phone rang within 2 minutes. "Send me the link," she said. "I'm cross-checking marriage records now." At 9 sharp, the video call came through. Commander Sheffield appeared on screen. Crisp Navy uniform, sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. No small talk. "Show me the photo." I turned the laptop. She studied it. "Sacramento, 2 years before your son's wedding." Her fingers moved quickly. "I'm sending documents. Print everything." We're comparing signatures. Minutes later, 3 papers lay on the table. The quick claim deed adding Autumn to my property. My real signature from a license renewal and a California marriage certificate. "Look closely," she said. "Your real signature, the V in Vaughn, has a loop that comes from habit. 30 years signing contracts." I said. "Now the deed." She zoomed in. "Different V. No loop. Someone copied your name, but not your muscle memory." She leaned back. "This is felony forgery." The evidence sat there, undeniable. "What happens now?" I asked. "We wait. I'm still running her background." 30 minutes. Holden brought coffee. I barely tasted it. 28 minutes later, My phone rang. Mr. Vaughn, sit down. I am. Autumn Marie Reeves never divorced her first husband. Archer Quinn, married in Sacramento, June 12, 2015. I searched every county. No divorce, none. My stomach dropped, meaning it means her marriage to your son is legally void. She committed bigamy. That's a felony in Arizona. She is not your daughter-in-law. She has no property rights. The deed is invalid and criminal. I thought of Owen. 3 years of marriage built on a lie. He doesn't know. Likely not. There's more. Archer Quinn filed a missing person report 2 years ago. She vanished after draining their joint account $30,000. He's been searching for her. She's done this before. Yes, your son may be her second victim. Commander Sheffield paused. Archer is still her legal husband. If I contact him, this escalates police charges, possibly multiple states. Your son will learn everything. I looked out the window. Somewhere in my house, Autumn was probably sleeping, unaware the truth was closing in. He deserves to know, I said. Call Archer Quinn. She nodded. One more thing. Your son may be angry with you. Victims often blame the one who exposes the lie. I remembered Owen's silence in that doorway. I'd rather have an angry son who knows the truth than a silent one being used. Understood. I'll proceed. The call ended. I sat there surrounded by proof of fraud, forgery, and bigamy. The woman in my home for 4 years wasn't who she claimed to be. The marriage was theater performance lies. Holden appeared. You look shaken. Worse, I said. I finally see the truth. I spent Saturday night staring at the ceiling. Commander Sheffield's question echoing in my head. Are you ready for this to get bigger? By Sunday afternoon, I had my answer. Spread across the library table was a 3-page action plan that would have made my old commanding officer proud. In the Navy, we had a saying, proper preparation prevents poor performance. 30 years in construction management only reinforced it. You never walk into a fight without knowing every angle. Commander Sheffield called at noon. I've drafted the notice to quit. 30 days to vacate standard eviction. I also contacted Sacramento PD. Archer Quinn wants to speak with you today. Set it up, I said. The video call came through at 2. Archer Quinn appeared on screen, early 40s, worn down dark circles under his eyes. He sat in a police interview room. Mr. Vaughn, he said quietly, I'm sorry for what happened to you. Autumn is still legally my wife. I never wanted anyone else hurt by her. Tell me what happened, I said. We married in June 2015, Archer explained. Everything seemed fine. Then in 2016, she said she needed space. She gave me divorce papers, official-looking stamped. Said she'd filed them. I signed. A month later, I came home, and she was gone. $30,000 drained from our joint account. She vanished. He swallowed. The next year, I tried filing taxes and learned we were still married. Those papers were fake. She never filed anything. I've been looking for her ever since. $30,000. She's done this before, I said. Yes. I found old emails later from a man in Oregon 2014. He called her by another name. They talked about money. I don't think I was her first victim, and I doubt your son is her last. The room felt colder. This wasn't family drama. This was a pattern. Would you provide a sworn statement? I asked. Already done, Archer said. Sacramento PD has it. I want her stopped. If testifying puts her away, I'll do it. After the call, Holden and I assembled the evidence with military precision. The forged quitclaim deed adding Autumn to my house. Owen and Autumn's 2018 marriage certificate. Archer and Autumn's 2015 marriage certificate still legally valid. Archer's affidavit. The police report. Commander Sheffield called again. Process server is set. Tucker Haynes, retired Marine. He'll serve the notice Monday at 10 a.m. Your address? Perfect. One more thing, she said. You need to tell your son before that. She was right. I texted carefully. Son, we need to talk. Monday, 11 a.m. Veterans Lodge, come alone. Delivered, then silence. Hours passed. I couldn't eat. I kept checking my phone. At 9 p.m., it buzzed. Dad Autumn says, "You're being dramatic, but I'll come. She doesn't need to know." I read that line 3 times. She doesn't need to know. After years of watching him choose silence, those words gave me something I hadn't felt in days. Hope. My son was still there. The boy I raised to value truth over comfort. Maybe he was waking up. I replied, 11 a.m. Just you and me. Thank you. Holden looked over. He's coming. He is. I folded the plan and slid it into the blue folder, and she doesn't know. What happens at 10? He asked. I pictured my house, my living room, that ring light. At 10, I said softly. The war starts. Monday morning arrived cold and clear. At 9:58, I sat in Holden's truck across the street from my house, waiting. Through the windshield, I could see my living room window. The ring light was already set up, the same one from Friday night. She was preparing for another performance, unaware this would be her last. Holden sat beside me, coffee in hand, silent. Years of deployments had taught him when words weren't needed. This was one of those moments. At exactly 10, Tucker Haynes rounded the corner. 58 years old, retired Marine pressed shirt leather folder tucked under his arm. His walk was steady and purposeful, the walk of a man who knew his job and did it well. He climbed my front steps and knocked. 3 firm raps, professional, final. The door opened. Autumn stood there in workout clothes, phone in her hand, ring light glowing behind her. Her lips moved. She was live streaming. "Hold on, guys," she said under the camera, irritated. "Someone's at the door." "Autumn Reeves?" Tucker asked. She angled the phone toward him. "It's Autumn Vaughn." Actually, not according to California records. Tucker opened the folder. "I have legal documents for Autumn Marie Reeves." Her face shifted confusion, then fear. Tucker extended the envelope. "You're being served. Notice to quit this property. 30 days to vacate. Page 3 includes an affidavit regarding fraudulent marriage and identity theft." Her hand froze midair. On camera, thousands watching. "What?" Her voice sharpened. "This is my house. He can't." "Actually," Tucker said calmly, "Gregory Vaughn is the sole legal owner. Your name was added fraudulently. The evidence is on page 5. Autumn grabbed the envelope and tore it open. Her eyes scanned page 1, then flipped to page 3. When she saw Archer Quinn's name, her body went rigid. She looked at Tucker, then at her phone. For a second, panic, calculation, and rage flickered across her face. Then she forgot the camera was on. "Shit," she muttered. "How did he find?" She fumbled with the phone hands shaking, trying to end the stream. It nearly slipped from her grasp. The screen finally went dark. Too late. Thousands had watched her receive an eviction notice, heard the word fraudulent, heard her admit she'd been hiding. Tucker continued evenly. "You're advised that bigamy is a felony in Arizona. You have the right to legal counsel." He turned and walked away as calmly as he'd arrived. Autumn stood frozen in the doorway, clutching the envelope. Then she slammed the door so hard I heard it across the street through the window. I watched her pace phone to her ear hands flying, calling the lawyer, calling Owen. My phone buzzed. Oh. And Dad Autumn just called screaming about lawyers' bigamy and some guy named Archer. What's going on? "I'm leaving now. Lodge in 40 minutes. I showed Holden. He nodded. "Your son's showing up." "Maybe to understand," I said, "or maybe to yell." "Either way," Holden said, starting the truck. "He's coming. That's more than Friday." He was right. Friday, Owen chose silence. Today, he chose to show up. I took one last look at the house. My house. The forged signatures, the fake marriage, the lies, now documented, undeniable. Holden pulled away. "Where to?" "Back to the lodge," I said. "We've got 40 minutes. 40 minutes for what?" "For Owen to see the truth," I answered quietly, whether he wants to or not. 43 minutes later, I heard the lodge's front door open. Heavy footsteps echoed down the hall. Then Owen appeared in the doorway. He entered the library at 10:47. His work shirt was wrinkled, his tie yanked loose. He'd clearly rushed out mid-shift, but it was his eyes that stopped me. Confusion was there, just as I'd expected. Underneath it, though, was something else. Fear. He started talking before he fully stepped inside. Dad Autumn says you hired some guy to harass her, that you forged documents to kick us out. She's cried, she says. Sit down, son, I said evenly. Please. He froze mid-sentence. Something in my voice, calm, tired, final, made him pull out the chair across from me and sit. I slid the blue folder across the table. Before you say anything else, read page 1. Owen picked up the document. I watched his eyes move line by line. Marriage certificate, Autumn Marie Reeves and Archer Quinn, Sacramento, California, June 12, 2015. His face drained of color. That can't be right. She showed me divorce papers, official stamps, a judge's signature. Fake, I said quietly. Commander Sheffield verified it. No divorce decree exists in any California county. Not one. She was married when she said vows to you. But we have a wedding album, Owen said, hands shaking as he set the paper down. Her family was there. Her sister was maid of honor. Were they really her family? I asked. When's the last time you saw them? When's the last time her sister answered your calls? Owen opened his mouth, then closed it. The defensiveness faded, replaced by doubt. I turned my laptop toward him. Commander Sheffield appeared on screen, uniform, crisp expression, firm. Mr. Vaughn, she said, I'm Commander Bryn Sheffield, Judge Advocate General. I've spent the last several days verifying these records across multiple states. Then, because this case involves identity fraud, forged property documents, and crimes spanning California and Arizona, JAG coordinated directly with civilian law enforcement. That's why things moved quickly. Owen stared at the screen. Your ceremony with Ms. Reeves has no legal standing, Sheffield continued. She was already married. That's bigamy. It's a felony. 3 years, Owen whispered. We built a life, joint accounts, photos, everything. All built on fraud, Sheffield said gently. I'm sorry. You were never legally married. I slid another document forward. This is a sworn affidavit from Archer Quinn, her legal husband. Owen read, his hands trembling. She stole $30,000 from him. He read aloud. He filed a missing person report. He's been looking for her for 2 years. He looked up at me, eyes glassy. Dad, she stole from him. Yes. And now she was with me. His jaw tightened. Last month she asked me to add her name to your house deed, said it was for insurance. I printed the form. When I asked, she kept pushing. I didn't do it because something felt wrong. His voice cracked. She was going to steal your house too. She tried, I said. She forged my signature 6 months ago. That's why she's being evicted, not you. Her. Owen buried his face in his hands. His shoulders shook. When she told you to go to your room, his voice broke. I said nothing. Tears streamed down his face. What kind of man does that make me? I stood across the table and gripped his shoulder. A man who was manipulated, I said. A man trying to keep the peace. A man who made a mistake. I squeezed his shoulder, but a man who showed up. He nodded slowly, wiping his face. I don't know how to fix this. One step at a time. I leaned back. Archer's flying in tomorrow. He's pressing charges for theft bigamy. The prosecutor will ask if you want to file charges too. I met his eyes. That choice is yours. Owen sat silently for a long moment. Jaw set the same look he used to get before facing something hard as a boy. Then he looked up at me. Tell me what we do next, Dad, he said. Tell me how we fight back. That word mattered. We. My son had come home. Owen moved his things into the lodge that night. We stayed up late with Commander Sheffield on speakerphone, mapping out next steps. But when Tuesday morning arrived, we discovered something neither of us had planned for. By sunrise, Autumn's carefully built world was collapsing, and the entire internet was watching. Holden found us at breakfast, phone in hand. "You two need to see this." The live stream clip had been ripped from Autumn's account and reposted everywhere. 200,000 views overnight. The comments were merciless. She got served on camera. Did she really say, "How did he find me?" Wait, bigamy? Someone had titled it, "Fitness influencer gets reality check midstream." At 3:01 in the morning, Autumn had attempted damage control. "This is elder abuse," her post read. "The confused man is attacking me because I won't enable his delusions." No one bought it. The top comment had 15,000 likes. "You said, 'How did he find me?' on your own live stream. That's guilt, not confusion." Another asked Autumn Reeves. So Autumn Vaughn was fake too. "Who is this woman?" Owen stared at the screen. "Coffee untouched. It's everywhere." "Good," I said. "Let people see the truth." At 10 Archer Quinn walked into the lodge. He looked just like on the call, early 40s, worn down by years of searching. When he saw Owen, he stopped. "You must be Owen Archer," said, offering his hand. "I'm sorry this happened to you." Owen surprised us both by pulling him into a brief hug. "Thank you for coming forward, for stopping her." "I've been looking for her for 2 years," Archer said quietly. "When Commander Sheffield called, I almost didn't believe it." "She found us," I said. "We just refused to stay victims." At 11, Detective Ree Camden arrived from Phoenix PD's fraud unit. Sharp, efficient, all business. She took statements from all three of us, documenting everything. With the live stream footage, multiple victims, and forged documents, I can secure a warrant today. She said, "Mr. Quinn, your Sacramento report gives jurisdiction for theft. Mr. Vaughn, Sr., the forged deed is felony fraud. Mr. Vaughn, Jr., identity fraud charges are available if you choose." "Yes," Owen said immediately. "All of it." The afternoon passed in paperwork and official statements. Detective Camden moved fast. She knew how quickly people like Autumn disappeared. At 2 Owen's phone buzzed, his face drained of color. A friend just drove by the house. "There's a U-Haul in the driveway. She's loading boxes." I showed the message to Camden. "She's running." Camden was already calling it in. Units to the address. Female suspect, mid-30s, U-Haul rental. Active warrant. Detain. She looked up. "We'll have her soon." It happened faster than expected. At 4:37, Camden returned from the hallway with a restrained smile. We stopped her at a gas station near Interstate 10. She was heading west. "She's in custody at Maricopa County Intake." The room went quiet. Owen leaned forward and exhaled slowly. "It's over," he said. "The arrest," as Camden replied. "The case is just beginning." She turned to us. "Her house keys were taken as evidence, but you can have them released." Owen looked at me. I nodded. "Yes," I said. "We'd like that." Outside in the late afternoon sun, Owen placed a hand on my shoulder. "Dad, I'm not ready to go back to the house yet." "That's fine," I said. "We'll go when you're ready." He smiled, small, tired, real together. So did I. We drove to the police station in silence. Owen's hands were folded in his lap, knuckles white. I kept my eyes on the road, the low desert sun painting the asphalt orange. Neither of us had much left to say. Not yet. At the station, Detective Camden handed Owen the keys. They'd been logged as evidence, tagged and photographed. Owen signed the release form without reading it, his signature shaky. When he stepped back toward my truck, he turned the key ring over in his palm, like he'd never seen it before. Maybe in a way he hadn't. The house felt different when I unlocked the door Tuesday evening, emptier, but truer. The ring light was gone from the living room window. The air didn't smell like her perfume anymore. It smelled like dust and silence. Owen stood in the doorway staring at the brown leather armchair where I used to sit before autumn. Switched off the TV and told me to leave. He swallowed hard. I should have said something that night, he whispered. I should have stood up. You're standing now, I said quietly. That's what matters. We started cleaning. Owen swept the hardwood floors. I wiped down the counters, threw out half-empty protein shakes, and unopened mail addressed to Autumn Vaughn, a name that never legally existed. She'd built a whole identity on paperwork that meant nothing. In the hall closet, Owen found a cardboard box labeled Wedding 2018. He opened it slowly. Inside were framed photos. Owen in a rented tux, Autumn in a white dress smiling at a courthouse. But underneath the frames, Owen pulled out a stack of printed emails correspondence between Autumn and a photographer in Oregon, dated 2015, discussing wedding album reprints. Owen's hands trembled. She used the same photos, he said, voice hollow. She just photoshopped my face over someone else's. He sank onto the couch, the album in his lap. His shoulders shook, not with anger, just grief. Grief for the lie he'd believed. Grief for the man he'd become while defending it. I sat beside him. Owen, you're not the villain here. You're a victim, too. He looked up, eyes red. I let her treat you like that. You were scared, I said. Scared of losing her. Scared of being alone. But fear isn't weakness, son. It's just fog. And fog clears. My phone buzzed. Commander Sheffield Gregg. I've had 4 calls today from other veterans. Same pattern. Daughter-in-law or son-in-law, fraudulent deeds, bigamy in 2 cases. They want to know what you did. They want help. I showed Owen the message. He read it twice, then looked at me. Dad, we can't let this happen to other people. No, I agreed. We can't. Owen set the fake album on the coffee table, standing slowly. For the first time in days, his jaw was set not in anger, but in purpose. So, what do we do? I thought of Holden at the lodge, of Archer Quinn, who'd flown out to help a stranger, of Commander Sheffield, who'd worked a case pro bono because it was the right thing to do. I thought of my wife, Rosalind, who used to say, "Strength isn't what you hold on to, Greg. It's what you give away. We help them." I said, "We teach them what we learned, documents, evidence, boundaries, how to say no before it's too late." Owen nodded slowly. When do we start? I looked at him, my son, who'd walked out of the fog and back into the light, who'd chosen his father over a lie, who was ready to turn his pain into purpose. Soon, I said, very soon. 3 months passed. Autumn plead guilty to fraud and bigamy. 18 months in prison restitution to all 3 victims. Archer finally got his money back. Owen finalized the annulment. The legal chapter closed, but for my son and me, a new one had just begun. On a late spring Saturday morning, I stood before 20 veterans and their families at the Phoenix Veterans Community Center. Owen was setting up the projector behind me, and for the first time in years, I felt like we were exactly where we were supposed to be. Holden stepped up to the microphone. Welcome to Protecting What's Yours, an elder fraud prevention workshop led by Greg Vaughn and his son Owen. I clicked to the first slide, warning signs of quick claim deed fraud. I kept my voice steady the way I used to brief my crew in the Navy. I let someone into my home. I trusted my son's judgment. And slowly, quietly, I lost control of my own space until one night she told me to go to my room in my own house. The room rustled, heads nodded. They understood. 2 other men stood, Jim, 68, and Frank, 71. Archer had connected them to us. Same woman, Jim said quietly. Same pattern. She targeted veterans because we're trained to trust the chain of command, and she placed herself inside the family. I clicked to the next slide. Forged signatures, bigamy, financial abuse. Here's what I learned. Silence isn't weakness. In the Navy, we're trained in tactical silence. But there's a difference between strategic quiet and accepting disrespect. I stayed silent too long. and silence in the face of abuse becomes permission. The workshop covered practical steps: how to check property records online, what a quitclaim deed is, and why you never sign one under pressure, how to verify someone's marital status using public records, red flags like isolation and rushed legal documents, when to contact JAG police or Adult Protective Services. Then Owen took the microphone. His voice didn't shake. I'm standing here as the son who failed. When that woman told my father to go to his room, I looked at my phone. I said nothing. He paused, jaw tight. I was abused too emotionally, financially. She isolated me from friends, controlled money, made me doubt reality. I didn't see it until my dad showed me evidence I couldn't deny. Owen's voice grew stronger. I learned something. Painful love without boundaries isn't love, it's enabling. My dad gave me a roof, gave me space, but when I let someone disrespect him, I crossed the line from gratitude to exploitation, and I almost lost him. A recorded video message from Commander Sheffield played on the screen. Every veteran who comes forward helps us build cases and protect others. You are not alone. After the Q&A, veterans approached us. One older man, tears in his eyes, gripped my hand. My daughter's boyfriend's been pressuring me to put his name on my house deed. I didn't know how to say no. Now I do. By late afternoon, Owen and I drove home together, exhausted but satisfied. At the house, Owen had officially moved back in on healthy terms with clear boundaries. We grilled burgers together on the back patio. Simple, quiet. At 6:30, I walked into the living room and sat in my brown leather armchair. Owen appeared with 2 beers. Mind if I join you for the news? I'd like that, I said. He held out the remote. Your house, your remote, Dad. Sit down, son. We'll watch together. He sat on the couch. PBS NewsHour played. No ring light, no camera, just a father and his son. Owen glanced over. Dad, thank you for not giving up on me. You're my son, I said quietly. I'll never give up on you. But I'll also never let anyone, even you, forget my worth. That's not cruelty. That's love with boundaries. I'm still learning that, Owen said, but I'm grateful you're teaching me. The remote sat on the coffee table between us. Neither of us reached for it during the commercial break. We didn't need to fight for control anymore. We'd both learned the same lesson. Respect isn't demanded, it's demonstrated. And in my home, under my roof, on my terms, respect was no longer optional. It was the foundation. I glanced at my son. He was watching the news, present-focused. The man I'd raised had come back. And this time, he knew who he was. The screen flickered. The anchor's voice filled the room. And for the first time in 4 years, my house felt like home. Looking back at my story now, I see how close I came to losing everything. Not just my house, but my son, my dignity, my peace. If you're watching this and thinking, that's me. That's my house. That's my kids standing silent while someone disrespects me. Don't wait like I did. Don't let 4 years pass before you say no. Here's what I learned, and I pray you'll hear. These boundaries aren't cruelty. They're love in action. Silence isn't strength, it's surrender. And your home, your name, your life, they're worth protecting. God gave you a voice for a reason. Use it before the paperwork gets signed, before the ring light goes up, before you're locked out of your own living room. This isn't just another video you scroll past. This is a true story. My true story. I'm sharing it on this channel because grandpa stories like mine aren't just entertainment. They're warnings. They're lessons from the trenches of life. Grandpa stories teach you what schools never will. How to protect your worth. How to set boundaries. How to say no when love turns toxic. This true story cost me 4 years. Don't let it cost you the same. If this helped you, or if you know someone who needs to hear these grandpa stories, please hit like, subscribe, and share this with your family. Drop a comment below. Have you ever had to set boundaries with someone you love? Let's help each other stay